What it do? What it do? What it do? What it do? What it do, Sade? Hi guys, hello to all of you and you, to all my fellow au pairs and to all the new and future au pairs, because this video is for y'all. So I'm saying what it do. Hi guys, my name is Nadine Glovu and I welcome you to my YouTube channel. If you've never been here, welcome. And if you have, thank you so much. Really appreciate it and thank you for coming back. This video today is about au pairing. I've been meaning to do a Q&A on au pairing because so many people asked me and I haven't gotten around to doing it, but I finally did it. So we're going to be talking all things au pairing, how the program works, how you do it, what it is, how you get into it, what happens, what it entails, all of that. We're going to be getting into it. So it's going to be fun and very informative. So get a notepad and a pen. Let's do this. Right, let's get into it. So first question, what is an au pair? What is that? What do you do? What is it? So in my simplest terms, when I explain to people what an au pair is, I'm just like, look, I'm a nanny from a foreign country, in simplest terms. But the au pair program is an exchange program where an individual goes and lives with a host family in that country. I will mainly be speaking about the USA because that's what I know. So go and live with the host family in that country and work with the family while living with them and becoming a part of their family. So you are working for the family, but you're also a part of the family, and there's that whole cultural exchange happening. You become part of the family, basically. So in simplest terms, that's what an au pair is. Right, question 2, how to be an au pair. So first, you have to get an agency, an au pair agency. I will not be mentioning any agencies in this video, but if you go onto Google, and I'm specifically speaking about the USA because that's what I know and that was my experience. I don't know about other au pairing in other countries. So you can always go onto Google and search South African au pair agencies for the USA or whatever country you're applying from. And then a few will pop up. You can go into their websites, look at the information, look at all the requirements. A lot of them will have information sessions, so you'll get to go in person and ask your questions. They'll have information, they'll tell you how it works, they'll tell you the process, they'll tell you about registration and all of that. Sometimes they'll do a screening to see if you are qualified to be an au pair, and then you take it from there. I mean, we're all different as people, so your needs might be different to someone else's needs, so you just need to see which agency you feel would work best for what you want. So that's the first step, get an agency. Okay, anyway, so there's also requirements to be an au pair. So the main requirements to be an au pair are, number 1, you have to be between the ages of 18 and 26. Sometimes I know it varies with the agencies, 27 is also there. I know of one agency that allowed up to 29, but most of the time it's between the ages of 18 to 26. Number 2, you need to have a matric certificate. So you need to provide your matric certificate. Number 3, you need to have a driver's license. So it is possible for you to start your application while you have a learner's and then get your driver's license within that process. But by the time you even apply for your visa, you need to have gotten your driver's license. Number 4, you need to have a minimum of 200 working hours in childcare. So what that means is any sort of childcare that you've done. Again, this varies with the agencies, but a lot of the time, like, it can be any work that you've done with, maybe you've worked at a daycare, or you've babysitted maybe a neighbor's child, or you have looked after your younger siblings or your nieces and nephews. Some agencies will prefer that the work that you've done, the hours, be with kids that aren't related to you, but it still counts. So for example, with me, the hours that I put in was that I had done a lot of work with the kids at my church. So I put in those hours, and then I had also babysitted for neighbors and other people that I knew, but I'd also done work with my nephews. So I put in those hours and they do count. So they do count, and also agencies will want references, so they will double check all of this. Number 5, no criminal record. And then I'm not sure if this is like a stipulated thing in the agencies, I can't remember, but I know sometimes you can't have a spouse or any dependent, so you can't be married or have any kids. That's, yeah. And then a requirement that I think personally is that you should love kids. I mean, agencies also say that, but you should love kids, because if you don't, you're gonna struggle. Yeah, so those are the requirements. And then so thereafter, if you meet all the requirements to be an au pair, some agencies have their own requirements, so like program fees and stuff and registration fees. So again, all agencies are different, that's why you have to do your own research. But for example, my agency did have a registration fee, but the registration fee was in together with the program fee, and you only paid it after you matched with the family, which I prefer, because then at least, you know, there's a guarantee. Because if I'm going to pay a program fee before, and what happens if I don't match with the family, or you know, I change my mind. So I preferred it that way, where you go through the whole process, you connect with families, you match with families, and then you pay the program fee. Okay, so let's back it up a little. So once you have chosen an agency and you've spoken to them and you feel like, okay, this is the right agency for me, they will give you an application. You'll fill out the application and the profile. You will answer a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions there about yourself, about your family, about the things you like to do, what are your hobbies, what are your skills, what things do you like to do with kids, all of that stuff. You fill that in. Take your time, because it's a really long application. And then once you have filled that in, the agency will take a look at it. They'll approve your profile. Once everything is approved, they will put you online. What that means is that then you can start connecting with families. Once you start connecting with families, again, depending on the agency that it is, sometimes you can get a max of 3 connections, sometimes you can get a max of 10 connections. It just depends on how I know it changed like about 3 times, and I did it. But if a family likes you, basically your profile will go online. They will see your profile picture, nice and smiling with all the kids, and then they will, if they like you, they'll look through your profile and then they'll connect with you. So what that means is maybe they want to have a conversation with you and all of that stuff. So they'll connect with you. You'll see that connection on your profile. If you like the family as well, you can accept the connection. So if you don't like the family, you can decline. That family's profile will disappear. But if you like the family, so it'll pop up on your side. You can also click into their profile. You can see how many kids they have, their ages, where they're based, and all of that stuff. If you like them, you can accept the connection, and then you guys will start to talk. You can either email, you guys will figure out how, if you're doing a Zoom or a Skype, or, you know, I mean, technology these days makes things easier. So that's what will happen. And then you speak to the family. You guys can decide, okay, you're going to have another chat. Sometimes you'll speak to the kids. If you feel like maybe after that first talk, you're like, yeah, no, they're not really for me, then you can always go back and decline. Or they can make the choice to, you know, disconnect from you. So then, okay, let's say you've now spoken to a few families, and maybe you've spoken to 2 or you've spoken to 5. And you feel like you found the one. You speak about it. It's usually best to speak about it and say, look, I really like you guys, and I think, you know, this would be the best match. And they will say the same thing, or they might say something else. But, you know, if they like you too, and you're like, okay, I think we want to match. And then you can go, they can either go on their profile and they can request a match, and then you can accept or decline. I suggest that you speak to as many families as you can, and think about what you need and what you want, and also be realistic. And I've said this in my other videos, always trust your intuition. Remember that you're going to be living with this family for a whole year. So you want the best connection that you can find. Obviously, there's going to be differences, but make sure that you feel a connection with this family. You see yourself living with them. You feel a connection with the kids as well, because you're going to be with them most of the time. So don't just rush to match with the family because you feel like, yo, but time is running out, or I'm not going to get another match. No, there are lots of families looking for au pairs. So take your time, make sure that you're making the right decision. There's no rush. Literally, take your time. Take it from me, who's had 2 rematches. Anyway, so that is, so after you've matched with the family, then you will then pay the program fee. That's if you're with an agency that does it that way. You'll then pay a program fee. After you pay a program fee, there's many other things that you need to go and do, like medical checkups. You would need to go to a doctor, get a full like medical checkup and workup. They need those details. And then you also need to do a criminal background check. You need to like take your fingerprints and all of that. Your agency will provide you with all of this information, just by the way, but I'm just like letting you know how much of like stuff it is admin. And then you will also need to go get your, you need to book your visa appointment. You pay for your own visa appointment. Sometimes your agency will help you through the application process and they'll give you the necessary paperwork. You pay for your own visa appointment. The last time I checked, for a J1 visa, it was around 2.4, so 2,400 rands, $160. So you'll pay for your visa, you'll go for the appointment. A lot of people stress about the visa interview. In my experience, the J1 visa interview isn't that scary. It's usually not that difficult. I mean, as long as your agency gives you all the required paperwork and information, you should be fine. But do make sure that you do prepare for your interview and you know where you're going and you know what family you're going to and all of that stuff. But you go, you'll get your visa, and then you also need to go get your international driver's license. And then you pack, and that's it. So you pack, and again, another suggestion, pack light. Pack light. You do not need your whole entire closet. You're going to shop. I didn't listen when they told me. So please, pack light. What are the working hours? Working hours are a maximum of 45 hours per week and a maximum of 10 hours per day. So that means is you can't work more than 45 hours in 1 week. And then you can't work a maximum of 10 hours in a day. So if, for example, let's say Monday to Thursday, you've worked 10 hours each day, that's now 40 hours. That means on that Friday, you can only work 5 hours. You can't work more than that because then that will exceed your 45 hours, if that makes sense. And it doesn't matter if you worked 3 hours, maybe 3 hours Monday to Thursday, so 3, and then on Friday they're like, oh, we want you to work 15 hours to make up for the hours that we missed. No, it's a maximum of 10 per day and a maximum of 45 per week. And then off days as well, you are entitled to 1.5 off days in a week, right? I think so. Yes, it's been a while. 1.5 off days in a week, and then 1 full weekend in a month. So you have to have a full, like, yeah, I don't know if it's a full weekend or full, please double check this information because I actually, yeah. Going back to the matching process, can you pick your own state and your own number of kids? Sure. A lot of people say like in your first year you can't be that picky. Yes, you can't be that picky because you haven't gone to experience what it's like, but I still think people should be mindful and sort of picky about what they go into because it's you that's going to be living with this family and doing the work. So a lot of people prefer 1 child, or a lot of people are like, I don't want more than 2 kids. I think it's completely okay to put those provisions for yourself because you know your capabilities and your abilities and what you will be able to handle. So if you feel like 2 is a max for you, then I think that's okay. And if you get a family that has 4 kids and you're like, ish, that's too much for me, I feel like I just won't know what to do with the kids, that's okay too. You don't have to, you know, just pick it because now you feel like, but if, you know, I'm going to be too picky. But I will say, have an open mind, because sometimes you might think 4 kids is a lot of kids, but you might actually speak to the kids and have a great time with them. I always tell people that more kids is actually, it's kind of better than having 1 child, because with 1 child, all of your attention is on that 1 child. And with a lot of kids, you know, like you can do a lot of activities with all of them. They can play together, you know, you sort of like, yeah. And I was a person who was like, no more than 2 kids, like no more. I didn't want 1, but I was like, no, 3 is my max. And when I got 3 kids, I was like, oh my God, how am I gonna do this? And it actually turned out like, I really liked it. I really liked having 3 kids. There was just so much more activity. There was so much more to do. I don't know. I liked it, but also that's because I like to keep busy. So, yes, don't be too picky, but you know, be picky. In terms of state, a lot of people ask this because you will get families in places that you've never heard of, especially if you've never been to the US. Like you'll hear like a Wisconsin or Minnesota or Wyoming, and you're just like, I want New York, I want DC, I want California. And it's okay to want that. It really is okay. But sometimes you'll get a family in your Minnesota that's really great, and maybe Minnesota is what you would like. So again, do your research on the place. So if you feel like you've met a family that you really like but you're not sure about the area, do your research on that area. Check out how that state is, check what's there to do, look at what sort of things you like to do and see if it aligns with that state and the things that, or even that city. But I will say that location for me is something that is important, because you could have a great family, but you're just unhappy in the area that you're in. I will give you an example from one of my experiences. I had a great family. My second family was great. It's the one with the 3 kids. But we were in a town called Towson in Maryland, and there are some parts of Maryland that are quite vibey and nice, but Towson was rather too quiet for me, and it was a small town and there was not much to do, or not much that I liked to do. And so I was miserable. I was miserable. So that, made the experience for me not as nice. But the two have to go together. So don't just go for a location that's wild and popping. You could be in New York, in Manhattan or Brooklyn, and it's fun and you're going out every weekend. But then if you're coming home to a family that you're not really comfortable with, or you don't really like the kids, it's not going to be nice for you. So make sure that both these things, location and family and number of kids and all of that work. But do your research on location and stuff. Next up is duties. What are my duties as an au pair? So I like to think of it as, or I generally say, your au pairs, your duties as an au pair is anything that has to do with the children or the kids. So that is waking them up, getting them ready for school, driving them to school, driving them to extramural activities, helping with their homework, making them lunch, making them dinner, doing their laundry, sometimes their beds, cleaning up after them, playing with them, anything to do with kids. Obviously within your working hours, unless you want to help after, but within your working hours. But then sometimes there's a fine line, and there's a lot of confusion, because then other au pairs will be like, oh, but my family expects me to clean their room, or expects me to clean the whole house, expect me to make dinner for the whole family. Is that part of, you will get a contract that will say all of these things. Just by the way, your agency, if they are right, they will tell you all of these things as well. But no, you're not supposed to be cleaning your host family's room, or doing their laundry, or cleaning the house. A lot of families will have like a cleaning service that will come every now and then, or they'll do the cleaning themselves. Your responsibility is the kids. So anything out of that, but obviously there's things that are courteous, like you live with the family and you've become part of the family. So there's things like taking out the trash. Like, yeah, if you see that the trash is full and it needs to go out, take it out. If you see that the dishwasher needs to be filled up, then fill it up. But then obviously there's things like, if you're off on that day and there's a pile of dishes in the sink that you didn't even use, is that your responsibility? No, it shouldn't be. There's also a lot of confusion with stuff like pets. Like, oh, they have a dog, so am I not required to walk the dog? No, that is not your responsibility. You can walk the dog if you're out with the kids, or even if you have time for yourself and you feel like walking the dog. sure, go for it, but it is not your responsibility. It's not part of your working requirements. Same goes with like making dinner for the whole family. But again, you are living with this family, you are becoming a part of the family. So again, read the room, read the, for example, again, I will always refer to me because I've been through this. So I did have families that expected me to walk the dog, even when it wasn't my responsibility, that expected me to do things that were outside of my working requirements. And a lot of that led to rematches. But I did have families where I would walk the dog. Even on my off days, I would walk the dog. If they maybe decided to go out of town, I didn't mind staying with the dog. If I see that the sink is full and whatever, I put it into the dishwasher. There's a lot of families where I made the meals. I cooked for everybody, the kids and the host parent and my host parents. I cooked for everybody, and I didn't mind. And sometimes my host parents made the food. It's not required of me to do the dishes, especially if I'm off by that time, but I'll help. They cooked, so I'm gonna stand up and clear up the table and maybe load the dishwasher. It really is, yeah. Same as how like your host family will also go out of, they'll be like, well, it's not a requirement to let you drive to wherever, but you're like family, so sure, take the car or whatever the case is. So that goes to your duties, but please be mindful of what is being asked of you and if you need to be doing that, and also, is it within your working hours? Right, how much money does an au pair get? So the current standard wage is $195.75 a week. That is the stipend that you get. You can either get that in cash, or they'll write you a check, or it will be transferred to your bank account. Your host family pays this. A lot of people ask, is it enough money? It's up to you. It really, really is up to you. The cost of living in America is very different to a lot of other countries, so a lot of things can be very expensive. If you aren't buying your own food or just other expenses, then it can be easy to save up in order to travel or buy your own things, all of that stuff. But be mindful of your spendings. My personal opinion, is it a lot of money? No, that's just my personal opinion.
Oh my God, I don't have any money.
Bank accounts, so how easy is it to get the bank account? Your agency will explain all of this as well. But once you get that side, you will be able to open up a bank account and all of that stuff. Now taxes, it is required of au pairs to pay 10% of their earnings each year. So a lot of the times your LCC, an LCC is someone from the agency that is assigned to you and other au pairs in your area. So I'm skipping a lot of steps here, but you will have an LCC so you'll in your area. So for example, I stayed in Towson, there'll be maybe 6 or 7, sometimes maybe even 20 au pairs in Towson, and then we'll get someone assigned from the agency to be our LCC, which is your local childcare consultant. That will be the person that you go to if you have any problems with the family. They will come within your first week and check how things are going. They'll go over the rules with you and your host family. They'll go over all of these things. If you have any problems with anything, you speak with them. If you want to travel or you have questions, you speak with them first. They are your person. They are your person. Credits and school. So when you go, you have to get, it is a requirement that you do 6 credits. You have to get 6 credits. Now what this means is you have to do courses that will give you credits. So you have to get 6 for that year. And so your family will contribute towards that $500. If your program costs more than that, if whatever you're studying costs more than that, you'll have to take that out of your own pocket. There are a lot of courses that can be found that are $500. There are a lot of au pair courses as well that you can find. I know a lot of the girls from like South America or European countries like to do English courses, which gets them that full 6 credits. Some people take Spanish classes, some people just, you know, some people do traveling. There's like this company that does traveling courses, so you travel to a state and you learn all about that course. Usually like it's 3 credits each, but then you can travel to another state and get another 3 credits, which makes it 6 credits. But that can be very costly. I suggest that you join whatever Facebook group you can, reach out to au pairs who past au pairs or current au pairs who can also give you some of this information. If you are an au pair and you want to know about these credit stuff, and you can reach out to me as well, and I will just send you links of some courses that you can do that don't exceed 500, so you can save that money. But obviously it is up to you. In my first year I did a traveling course which gave me 3 credits, and then I did another course with another institution, and then in my second year I did 1 course with the university that gave me all 6 of my credits, and it was just on it was $500, so I didn't have to take out money from my pocket. But if you do extend, you do have to do another. So if you do extend for another year, I will get to extension, but if you extend for another year, you have to do another 6 credits. If you extend for 6 months or 9 months, you have to do 3 credits, an extra 3 credits. But for the first year, it's 6 credits. So that's how. And honestly, $500 for a course is very little money. Agencies will say to you, oh, you can get to study whatever you want, you can go and do, no honey. No, $500 for a course is very little money. So yeah, just be mindful of that. Extensions. So obviously you have to au pair for a minimum of 1 year. That is the minimum, 1 year, no less. And then after your first year, you can choose to extend either for an extra 6 months, an extra 9 months, or an extra year. So you either have done 1 year, 6 months, 1 year, 9 months, or 2 years in total. But the maximum is 2 years, and then you have to return to your home country, unless you do a change of status. Now, with that is that people ask, well, can I exchange somewhere else? Can I extend somewhere else, or do I have to stay with the same family? You have a choice to either stay with the same family or extend somewhere else. They will give you, your agency will give you enough time. So I think 3 or 4 months before, they'll send you an email, oh, it's time for an extension. You decide whether you're extending or not, and then you have a conversation with your host family. If they want you to stay on and you want, then great. You can stay on with them. There is an extension fee that you have to pay when you extend, but if you choose to extend somewhere else, then, or with a different family, then you will select would like to extend with a different family, and then you will go again into the matching pool. You will connect with families again and start meeting new families, and then by the time your first year is done, then you would have found a family, and then when your term is done, then you go to that new family. What I did is I extended with a different family. I loved my family in my first year, but the area, Towson, as I said before, just wasn't it. So I wanted to go to a different place, and I extended with a different family in a different state. Now, really important, what I feel people don't speak about. What if I don't like my family? Rematch. I'm joking. So next topic is Rematch. I do have a video on Rematch and my Rematch story. There's another one coming, so look out for that one. But you haven't watched the first one, please go back and watch it, because I also explain how Rematch process works. But if you do get into a situation where things with your family aren't going okay, you have the option to speak with your LCC. If that doesn't work, there's other things that come into it. But if you've just reached a dead end where it's okay, this is not working, and it can be from both sides. If they feel like things aren't working with you, or if you feel like things aren't working with them or with the kids, or for whatever reason, you have the option to rematch and go into the matching pool and find another family. Obviously, it's not like the first time that you've matched, because now this time you only have a max of 2 weeks to find a new family. So that does put a lot of pressure on people. People get scared because they're like, if I don't find a host family, because what happens if you don't find a host family in that 2 weeks, then you go back home. So a lot of people get scared to go into Rematch because they're like, what if I don't find another family? Or, you know, but if you're not happy, I always suggest to try figure out the problem, try sort it out. If it's still not working, it's okay. What is different is people rematch, because there's only 1 year of your life that you're not going to get back. So rematch is an option. We all think it's never going to happen to us, but sometimes it does. Sometimes twice. So rematch is a thing. Right, now to the more fun stuff. Traveling and making friends. This is the last point that I'm going to speak on. So traveling and making friends. So sometimes you'll make friends from your au pair meetings and the au pair group that you're in. A lot of the times people will make friends through social media. So they'll join Facebook groups or whatever country you're from. So like South Africa, I'll be like South African au pairs in the USA. That's where I met a lot of people. Then you say like, hi guys, I'm Nadine. I'm currently based in Los Angeles. And you know, and then someone will reach out and all of that stuff. And then you meet up or whatever. Or social media. A lot of au pairs connect via social media. You might meet someone that's not even in your state, but then we'll be like, oh, hey, I know someone that's there. This is their profile. And then you guys start talking and then you meet up. So you can meet a lot of people from your home country, but you can also make a lot of friends from other countries as well, which I personally think is so nice because you learn new languages, new cultures, a lot of things. So that's on making friends. And then traveling. Last but not least, traveling, right? So you'll get to see and travel and experience a lot of places that you have seen on TV and movies and Hollywood, and you're just like, oh my gosh, is this really the Times Square? Are these the lights of Times Square? That like, this is the bridge where that guy proposed in that movie. Yes, it is. I had a lot of those experiences where I was like, oh my gosh, this is the bridge from that movie. That's the statue that, and now when I watch movies, I'm like, I live there. I was walking down there the other day. I know that street. It's really cool. Don't take these experiences for granted. Don't take the friendships that you make for granted. Do a lot. I know the experience is going to be tiring. You're going to be tired. You're going to be sad. You're going to miss home. You're going to be homesick. These are all things that are going to happen to you. Like literally, these are all things that are going to happen to you, or most people. But it really does get easier. But don't sit at home. I know I spent a lot of my first few months, like the first 4 months, like just sitting in my room, not doing anything. I mean, it was cold also, so I didn't do a lot. But after that, I got out. You know, every weekend I was doing something. If I wasn't working and my schedule was easy, I was, you know, out with friends, doing something, exploring the city, doing that. On the weekend, I'm traveling to whatever state, I'm going there, I'm on a road trip. A lot of my friends didn't do this, and by the time COVID hit, they hadn't traveled because they kept saying, oh, I'm gonna travel my second year, oh, I'll do it next year, I'll do it next year. They never got to travel because they didn't do it in their first year. So I'm so grateful that I used that time and my weekends and my free time to travel and explore and experience new things, because COVID hit and I was like, okay, well, I kind of got to see some of the country. So please, whatever free time you have, use it, because you're not gonna get it back. Eat as much food as you can. Try to stay healthy though. Travel, guys, please travel. Like, save up. Like, I know you're gonna be wanting to do a lot of like shopping and buying food and all of these things, and yes, do it. But I think saving for traveling is great. Like, just travel, because those experiences you're not gonna get back. There's a lot of sites as well that you can download, like apps that you can download for cheaper, like bus tickets. Like, so instead of like taking a flight, maybe if the bus ride is like 4 or 6 hours, like take a bus ride. You can find $1 bus tickets. There's sites where you can get cheaper flight prices. There's like ways to get these things. There's like days where you should check and days that you shouldn't buy because that's the most expensive day. These are all just like hacks and stuff like that, but save your money as much as you can so that you can travel with friends, so that you can lessen the costs and stuff of accommodation and gas or whatever the case is. Taking a road trip is always nice. Plan ahead, pack light. But yeah, it's going to be one of the hardest things you've done, but it's also going to be one of the most growing and amazing and fun-filled, and there's going to be a lot of cries, but there's also going to be a lot of joy with the experience. So yeah, those are the questions that I've received in the past, and I hope that helps. I tried to make this video not too long, but there's honestly a lot that goes into this, so I hope you enjoyed that. If you have any more questions, please do ask in the comment box below. Please comment anything that you would like to know, or any other videos that you would like me to do. Like I said, I do have previous videos where I speak about my rematch, and I also speak about the driving and my first week experiences in au pair, and I will be uploading another video speaking about families that I've had, and also my second rematch experience, and just how I ended up living in 4 different states. But yeah, that was an au pair Q&A from my perspective, Nadine Jovu. I hope it helped you, and whatever season that you're in right now, if you're applying to be an au pair, keep going. It's gonna happen. It's gonna be fun. If you're getting ready to go, I hope you're excited. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I will be making more videos. But yeah, from now until next time, I say bye, all the best. Subscribe.